If your patient is unconscious, having the knowledge to manage your patient's airway is essential in a critical care setting, ER setting, and or post-anesthesia care unit. We use oropharyngeal airways, referred to as OPAs, as there are different sizes of OPAs. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to size and advance your patient's OPA. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Tina, nurse practitioner. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Let's get started. Airway management requires emergent intervention to protect your patient's airways. So an OPA, also known as oropharyngeal airway, is used to help keep the tongue from obstructing the airway for your unconscious patient. An OPA helps keep the airway open, as this is not ideal for the patient that is conscious because it will elicit a gag reflex. The OPA sits on top of the tongue with the opening of the airway sitting in the front teeth and lips of the patient. It has a curved arch to fit over the tongue. Anatomically, the end of the tube sits above the larynx. An alternative option is a nasopharyngeal airway, also known as a nasal trumpet, that is inserted through one of the nares of the patient's nostrils. More ideal for your semi-conscious patient with a gag reflex that is having trouble with keeping their airway open. I have commonly seen this in a post-anesthesia recovery unit for your patient that may have sleep apnea and a little more trouble waking up post-anesthesia. With an OPA, you can attach a bag valve mass, BVM, to the insertion site to provide air to the patient, as this is part of your ACLS guidelines during an emergency event. Another reason for using an OPA is in an ICU setting for your patient that is on a mechanical ventilator. They are bucking the vent, they're biting the ET tube, so they will use an OPA to help keep the airway open so they're not biting the vent, while the nurse better works on sedation management to help achieve a RASS score of, let's say, -2. This will allow the patient to be more calm and relaxed while on mechanical ventilation. Another example for a reason an OPA can be used in the setting of a patient that had a seizure, so they will place that as a bite block for added safety and to protect the patient's airway. Now, there are different sizes of an OPA tube as shown here. So how do we size it? Sizing is important, so be sure to place the opening of the OPA at the edge of the patient's mouth and the curved tip at the end or angle of the mandible. If you notice, this OPA is too long and goes past the mandible, as it would not be an ideal fit, and this OPA is too small or too short as shown here. So with insertion, tilt the patient's head back for your patient that is not a trauma patient, and no C-spine precautions. The curve goes up and insert the OPA. You will then angle up going past the tongue, then gently rotate the OPA at about 180-degree angle for an adult patient. Versus a child, insertion is angled down with the OPA as there is no rotation. When the patient is able to maintain their airway and they are meeting parameters per your hospital guidelines, you can gently remove the OPA, following the curve of the tongue, and document your assessment findings. From experience, I have noticed that when the patients begin to wake up and are meeting goals, they will begin to move the OPA with their mouth and actively swallowing. This is another cue patient is able to protect their airway. So continue to monitor the patient's hemodynamic stability and document your assessment findings. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.